Hey everybody, Edo here, and in today's video, I wanted to talk about 5 Kickstarter creators and their companies that inspire me and have made me better at making games and running Kickstarters and really just are a constant source of, as I said, inspiration or just insight, and just basically just different things that have really become a huge part of the work that I do in Kickstarters and game making. And so I just wanted to talk about them for a few minutes. So I will just stress that I wanted to do 5. There are many, many, many incredible Kickstarter creators. There are many incredible publishers and game makers, and this isn't in no way supposed to be a slight of those folks. But I was just thinking through different traits and different aspects, and this 5 really stood out to me in this initial 5. And I there's many honorable mentions, and a lot of folks I really appreciate and like. And, you know, if you're in the Kickstarter scene, none of these folks are going to be surprises, right? Like, in some ways, I'm just naming folks everyone might name, but it's my list. So, first and foremost, I have to say, Jamie Stegmaier and Meyer Games, right? Jamie and I actually have a little bit of a history together in that the two of us lived in Japan in a Japanese program while we were in college, 20 years ago or so, whatever it was. And then we never talked to each other again. And then when I was starting Liftoff, Get Me Off This Planet, everyone's like, you need to look at Jamie's blog, Meyer's blog. And I was looking at it, and he had made some comment. I don't remember. I'd have to go back. But basically, I ended up messaging him. And, if you ever have messaged Jamie, he like insta responds. And he responded and he was like, here's my opinion. Oh, and by the way, I'm pretty sure we went to KCJS together, Kyoto Center for Japanese Studies together. And I was like, what? Oh, yeah, that's the guy that made the board game about the tale of Genji. But anyway, setting that aside, obviously, Meyer Games and Jamie make some fantastic products, hugely, wildly successful. But the thing for me, which is inspiring and is standout with Jamie, is his customer service, backer communication, industry communication, and all the things that he does outside of just making a fantastic game. It's the blog, it's the website, it's the his like Stonemaier fans, like his set of people that are embedded within his organization and how he built that up. And really this very humble and beautiful awareness of backers being the people who support you and the people who purchase your game, and really this deep care for his audience and for his players and for his partners. And he's made plenty of mistakes, but when I think and look at somebody who's really doing well, or is trying at least, to do well by everyone he works with, and still small company, right? Except lots of hit games. It's absolutely Jamie, and I've grown and learned so much watching what he's done. I've had the opportunity to provide him with some feedback and critiques over the years, but he's just the gold standard, platinum standard, diamond standard, whatever you want, for how to treat folks and how to do a fantastic job and give it your all. And so he's really stood out in that regard, and it's a pleasure to be able to get feedback from him directly or otherwise. But Jamie Stegmaier and Meyer Games. And lots of great games. Everybody I'm about to mention makes great games. It's part of it, right? And these aren't in any particular order. Probably the order they came to mind. Next is Keith Mateka and Thunderworks Games. Now, I've had the opportunity to work with Keith a lot. Keith designed Skull Hollow and a number of Pencil First games, solo modes. But really, he's been somebody I've got to watch make the transition from having a full-time job and doing the Kickstarter thing to leaving his job full-time. And what I'm always amazed and impressed by with Keith is his hustle and his drive to sort of grow his products, meet the customer. It's not the same sort of customer servicey thing. It's more going through conventions and building his brand and really trying to drive and grow his products while creating great games and Kickstarters, and a willingness to do it. He's not, Keith, he'll give you his opinion if you ask him. He's not doing the Jamie Stegmaier blog, he's not part of that sort of view. But when it comes to building up his footprint and growing his business, it's very impressive. I also note a lot of these folks have like over the top production. Like Jamie Stegmaier's games are really over the top. A couple other folks I'll mention are really over. Not everyone actually, but Keith isn't over the top in his productions. His games are fine. The games are great. The art is fantastic. The execution, the role player universe stuff is amazing. But the actual quality of what's in the box is good. He's not changing the world with everything he puts in and his amazing inserts. But the amount he's been able to create sub-products and add-ons and inserts aftermarket, the amount that he's able to have built an rabid fan base for the role player product line, and the risks he's taken and gone straight to retail with cartographers and a variety of other things. There's a certain amount of scrappiness and get-it-doneness that I really appreciate from Keith. Keith does the best job of making me feel bad for not doing more in a pleasant way. We compare notes all the time, and a lot of it's like, oh, you're not doing that? And it's like, no, man, I'm not doing that. You're doing that, right? He's like, yeah, I'm doing that. So Keith is always, he's a guy, who very actively pushes me to do more and do better. So Keith Matejka, Thunderworks Games. And I will stress one more time, they make amazing products. Go back their stuff, play their games. They're incredible. I've reviewed most of these games for most of these companies. All right. Next up is Gavin from Roxley Games. Roxley was one of the not early, but just always executing product at such a high level. Gavin, I think he's an engineer by trade, but also is an amazing graphic designer and amazing eye, and just the level of execution of products and roundness of polish, uniformity of awesome in what Gavin has done with Roxley Games blows my mind. He also happened to absorb the Dice Throne guys, and the Dice Throne guys did an amazing job in and of themselves. But if you look at the post-Roxley Dice Throne stuff, it's incredible. So for me, Roxley, in terms of like execution of the game product, but also execution of the Kickstarter page as product, is the best. Every trend, every big new level of execution, they've knocked it out of the park. And what a pleasure to see and experience. I mean, they're always, James Hudson, Druid City Games, Skybound Games, and he's moved on, he's done other stuff. He'd be an honorable mention for sure. But I just remember with him, when we were all like in this little group trying to not one-up each other, but look at everyone else, you'd always be like talking about things, and then Roxley would do something, you'd be like, oh my gosh, like, wow, how can you compete with that? That's crazy. Like the pursuit of excellence and perfection is something that Gavin has instilled and always pushed. And every single one of these guys is super duper humble, but amazingly talented. And I think, they're just different persons. Like Jamie is the designer. They all are designers and creative, but Jamie has that social aspect. Keith, that hustle. Gavin, that push for perfection and visual cohesion, is incredible. And again, the amazing products. And none of these guys have huge lines. I think Jamie probably puts out the most stuff, and he doesn't even put out that much stuff. But really, every one of these creators touches all their work, if you know what I mean. So next up, I have Steve Finn of Dr. Finn's Games. Now, Steve's interesting because he has not had the level of success that the other 4 creators I'm mentioning have had. Steve has not had some gigantic Kickstarter success. He's had 25, 29, 30, whatever his numbers is, small incremental Kickstarter campaigns, all that live between $10,000 and $30,000 or something. But first and foremost, and I've done Q&As with all these guys, but if you don't know it, Steve is the original sell games out of your garage. He was making games and putting on VHS disc cases. He was laminating his own cards and selling them. I mean, he has been indie before anyone was indie as far as Kickstarter creators. Steve is freaking amazing. But what always amazes me about Steve is his grit and tenacity. This is all aside from being an incredible designer, right? As a Kickstarter creator, his grit and tenacity and willingness to keep going, make another game, try again, try this thing, try that thing. His execution isn't through the roof. He isn't doing amazing Kickstarter pages or stuff like that. And his games are humble, very fun, but he's always trying and tweaking and mixing it up. And he had this thing where he was selling his whole line of games when he did a Kickstarter creator, and he's moving that around. But when I feel like I'm sort of doing the same thing over and over again at times, I'm always I've done it 10 times. This guy's done it 30 times, and he's still tweaking and trying and doing interesting things. And having low Kickstarters and Kickstarters where you got to fight to the end is no joke. It's a huge strain, and for him to do it again and 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 again is amazing. And so, if you're first you don't succeed, you keep trying. I mean, that's Steve, and that's not even fair. He has succeeded. He has been able to create a huge amount of games. He's been able to share his designs internationally and with the world. And I think, in many regards, I think that's great. He gets frustrated about not being able to break in, or why won't he get this deal, or he's no super person. He's a human, but when I think of somebody that's just plowing through day over day, it's absolutely Steve for sure. And if you're not aware, Steve has designed a number of Pencil First Games games, so worth mentioning there. And a lot of this has come through building relationships with these guys over the years. Last, and I don't remember how to pronounce Vincent's last name. So, Vergon Jean. I interviewed him on my channel, I think once or twice, my wife. But he pronounced it right, and he pronounced it better than me. So we'll go look that up.
You have it written down?
Yeah, you can try. It's not easy.
Vergon Jean? Is it French?
Yeah. All right. That was my wife's correction. And my wife is an inspiration.
That's right.
That's right. But let me talk about Vincent for a second. So Vincent and Lucky Duck Games. What has impressed me about Vincent and is versatility. He's been doing the licensed game Vikings Gone Wild was this big success, and then he did Zombie Tsunami. But then, he did Chronicles of Crime, which was just totally out there and had VR, and it was just this very different thing. And then the work that was done for the Something in Time, the tower defense game. I'm forgetting the name of it right now. The range of work that Vincent does at Lucky Duck Games, and working with the different IPs and products and technology is just, it's this combination. And he's been able to build and grow a digital board game group and continue to execute and deliver fantastic products with IP, without IP, with technology, like this really interesting, robust play. And again, from humble and easy and small starts. So he's really been able to capitalize and leverage his business and just create some fantastic, imaginative, different, compelling products. And working with different designers. He's probably, of this set, Jamie is the main designer on his work. Gavin's probably also publishing. He's done a lot of stuff that isn't his. Keith does most of his own designs, though he does do some that aren't his. Steve is just his designs. I think Vincent is most universally more of a producer creator than a designer creator, though I'm sure he gets his hands in everything like I might. But I'm just always, it's like quality across the board, but also with risks and really interesting experiments, and also that willingness to fail and try again and do different things. The guy's a powerhouse. All these guys are powerhouses. And so I watch their campaigns, I play their games, I read what they write. I think they really are all fantastic. And beyond really just this list, we're during a period of overlap. Obviously, Jamie isn't really in the Kickstarter scene anymore. I think Roxley still. Yeah, Roxley is. But have been the backbone, and when I have questions, when I'm thinking about what to do, their willingness to engage and provide information has been fantastic, and they're always full of incredible details. If you're curious about any of these guys or any of these companies, I've done Q&As with them. You can watch them or just check out their games and products. But really, it's incredible to see these businesses grow and change over the years, and I look forward to everything they're going to do in the next 5 years. So anyway, thanks for watching. Bye. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games. Thanks.